Hi, I'm Charlotte Merrill, and this is our So Let's Be Friends podcast. This is a place where everyone belongs, and every story matters. Together, we celebrate our differences, bring awareness to disabilities, and build a more inclusive and supportive world. One conversation at a time, let's open our hearts and listen with kindness.
I like when people ask me about my crutches because they can get to know me, and I like having friends, so let's be friends.
This life is beautiful, and you are wonderful.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to So Let's Be Friends. Today, I'm so happy because I'm gonna share with you my speech. But before I get into that, I'm going to tell you, the reason why I want to share it with you today. I feel like it's a good time because we are celebrating the 250 years of freedom and independence celebrations this month. And I'm so happy for you to hear my speech. I took a college class about public speaking, and my speech was on civil rights. Turning 18 is a huge milestone for anyone. When a young person like me with disabilities becomes an adult, parents usually have real concerns about how to continue helping with decision making and while also encouraging us to be independent. My parents were motivated to start early in my youth for preparing me for adulthood to make some serious decisions. About my life as an adult. I like that my parents made me part of this conversation. Part of my concern is, what would I do? Would I be okay if my parents weren't here? We made the decision to look into guardianship. Guardianship is an option we can choose. So we as adult children can receive support after we turn 18 and beyond. I learned that after 18 years old, if guardianship isn't in place, suddenly my parents have no rights to access my medical records or help me make medical decisions, which is very scary. I do not want the government to take control of my health, my finances, and my health. My parents have been there since day one, helping in my best interest. And suddenly they can't help me anymore or have a big decision legally if guardianship isn't in place. I still want to be recognized as an individual. And I am still growing into who I want to become. I need to be given the ability to lead my own life and be independent as possible. No system that the government sets in place should be a barrier for me or others to fulfill our dreams. As my mom and I were signing papers for my guardianship, she suddenly realized that she was signing away my civil rights, including my rights to vote. I saw my mom push the papers back and with big crocodile tears. The lawyer was confused. This was the regular route for those with special needs and disabilities. We fought and fought for my civil rights. We both had to get a lawyer. My parents worked with a lawyer and I was assigned a lawyer. Also, my lawyer got uncomfortable with our decision to keep my civil rights while having guardianship. Since sent in an investigator to my home to ask me questions. I felt it was done very wrong. The investigator made a decision that I should not keep my civil rights based on meeting me once for a few-minute conversation and asking me 3 silly questions. He asked me my favorite color, my favorite food, then asked me political questions with really big words that not even my mom couldn't understand it right away. I was denied my civil rights in a simple email stating that he decided I wasn't smart enough. We went back to our lawyers unhappy with a simple and quick decision. We were confusing the typical path. My mom and I reached out to our past and current doctors and therapists who have known me since I was little till now. I had several letters written on my behalf who strongly stated that I was cognitive enough, smart enough, and opinionated enough to have my rights. I was very happy before my mom and I fought for my civil rights. The lawyer thought it was dumb enough to keep my civil rights. Now we started to turn their thoughts and a court date was set. I needed to have guardianship because of my cerebral palsy. It makes it so hard that I cannot do everything by myself. I can't take baths by myself, eat by myself, drive, and so on. Even though I can't do those things, I still have a right. I'm a part of this country too. They thought that because I can't do everything by myself, that I shouldn't have the rights to vote and be part of our country? Why do I want to vote? I want to vote because it's right for our country. I want to help make decisions and agreements for our country because we want to make our country a better place. We cannot do that if we can't vote. Why do I want to have my civil rights? I want to protect our country and I want to make a world a better place. I should have the rights to do the same things as everyone else, no matter what the differences are. We should be treated equally, no matter our skin color, disabilities, abilities, genders, and the way we think. We as a country worked hard to gain our civil rights. The Pilgrims came here because they didn't have civil rights to practice their own religion. Later, there was a war to be free and no longer be governed by Britain. After we become an independent country, we still had wars of civil rights. In the 1950s through 1960s, there was civil rights movement. Even though there was Civil War that got rid of slavery. African Americans were still discriminated against. They had a fight for equality that lasted 2 decades. This shows how important it is. People lost their lives, sailed overseas, and didn't give up. They kept fighting no matter how long it took. The main aim of the civil rights movement was to give everybody equal rights regardless skin color, gender, nationality, religion, disability, or age. The aim of the movement, which peaked in the 1960s, it made sure that the rights of all people were equally and were protected by the law. Then we as a country had another huge movement, the Women's Rights and Civil Rights Act. Women's suffrage became the right of women to vote and hold an elected office. You may think that women have always had the right to vote, but this is far from the truth. Up until now, the 1900s, most Democrats thought throughout history only allowed men to vote. People felt that not only should slavery come to an end, but that all people should be treated equal regardless of race or gender. National women's suffrage groups started to pop up all over the United States. The main goal of this group was to get an amendment passed that would allow women to vote. We, as a country, have to make changes if we want to make changes. Helen Keller was blind, deaf, and mute due to an early childhood illness and overcame these disabilities. I also am trying to overcome my disabilities from my neurodegenerative disease. Helen Keller became a major individual responsible for influencing how people viewed and treated those with disabilities. I too needed to stand up like she did for our rights. She was the founder of the American Civil Liberties Union and activist for blindness and women's suffrage. She got involved in so many social and political issues. I too want to speak up for our civil liberties. I had the pleasure to work with Judith Heumann before she sadly passed away. She was awesome. I looked up to. She was an American disabilities rights activist, known as the Mother of Disabilities Rights Movement. She was recognized internationally as a leader in the disability community. Heumann was a lifelong civil rights activist for people with disabilities. She has taught me to stand up for myself and others with disabilities. I have 2 younger siblings with disabilities as well, and I have been creating a path of growth and equality for them as well as myself. I would like to believe we have abilities too, just like others. Judith Heumann says, people look at us as the label of our disability, and it is a part of who we are, but it's not who we are. I am grateful for her example of doing hard things. I worked with Judy through Arizona Youth Leadership Forum, which I am proud to be part of. I agree with her that part of the problem is that we tend to think of equally is about treating everyone the same. When it's not, it's about fairness. It's about equity of access. I am excited that I lived by her example and fought for my civil rights, and I won in June of 2022. It's been neat to see others follow my path from our Special Olympics unified team and community and go back and make changes of their own guardianship, which is not an easy process. We need to fix this as a people. I like that I kept my rights after all. I want to help lead and make changes. I want to end with sharing one last quote from this leader I looked up to. Human states change never happens at the pace we think about it should. It happens over years of people joining together, strategizing, sharing, and pulling all the levers they possibly can. Gradually, excruciatingly, slowing things start to happen, and then suddenly seeming out of the blue, something will tip. It's time for our special needs community to make the tip, and I will be part of it. Thank you. Thank you everybody for listening and watching my podcast. And thank you for letting me share my speech with you today on civil rights. And if you need love and support, visit at www.merrillbuds.org. I would love to be a friend with you. So let's be friends! If you're listening, thank you for being a part of this. We are excited to share more stories and more truth and more love in every episode. Until next time, love one another, and like I say, so let's be friends.